This has never happened before. Today we have three experts in their field with three different opinions debating the subject of porn. This is the first time I've gone on Pornhub at work.
In one corner we have Dr. Rina Malek, the sex scientist helping millions of couples enhance their sex lives.
In the other corner we have Dr. K, the psychiatrist specializing in helping people with addictions to pornography and more.
Who is up against Erica Lust, who runs a large pornographic production company.
No one can sit on the fence here. Is porn a benefit to people and society?
Definitely, and especially for people who haven't really had that right to pleasure, to understand their sexuality.
But I think what we're clearly seeing is a trend of it being damaging. Let me just share with you all what I'm afraid of. It is doing way more to the brain than we ever realized. So the first thing that we know is that
But there's data to suggest that couples that use pornography together have better sexual.
Fuck off, dude. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Guy, how many people have you interviewed in your life?
I would say over 20,000.
And you started a smash hit iconic show called How I Built This. Why?
Fuck
What's the
off.
mission
Fuck
behind that show?
off.
I wanted to give people access to the greatest entrepreneurs I could find in ways that they might not have access to them. And I wanted that wisdom and those stories to be available to anyone at any time for free forever.
Give me an idea of the kinds and caliber of people that you've interviewed over those 20,000 interviews.
Oh, everybody from, rural sheepers in Afghanistan to soccer players in Europe to celebrities in the United States, world leaders, entrepreneurs and founders of businesses, to ordinary man on the street conversations.
I'm really curious, when we talk about building something, the seemingly impossible, most difficult part of building anything seems to be going from 0 to 1. And you've sat with people who have gone from having an idea to putting that idea in motion. And it's not a huge journey to travel, but it seems like the hardest journey to travel because it requires so much of a shift in mindset. It requires the confrontation of fear and apparent danger. And there's something about these people that makes them decide that it's better than not starting. Taking the action is better than not taking the action. Have you been able to figure out what that is in people and how we can cultivate it?
There's several sort of the Venn diagram of founders coalesces around a few common traits that, by the way, many of us have intuitively, naturally, or can develop, right? So curiosity is an obvious one. Just this desire to grow and to learn and to look around you and to try and absorb the lessons around you. But the other ones are a little bit more hard-edged, like a fear of regret, of not trying something. So many years ago, I interviewed a guy named Jim Koch. I've actually interviewed him recently again. He really kind of revolutionized the beer industry in the United States. Like, the reason why Europeans drink American beer today is because of Jim Koch. Like in the 80s, it was a joke, right? There's actually a famous Monty Python sketch where it's something about, rather drink piss than American beer, something like that. Well, in the 80s, he kind of revived the beer industry in the US with a beer named Samuel Adams. And he really kind of supercharged what became this, craft brewing industry in the US, IPAs and all these really interesting beers that to this day are, some of the greatest in the world. He started his business, Sam Adams, in his 30s. He was a consultant for Boston Consulting Group. He was making a good salary. He had a family, but there was something about his life that felt unfulfilled. And part of that was he wanted to build something on his own. He wanted it to be his. He didn't want to work for somebody else. And he felt that if he didn't try, if he just continued on at BCS, he would make a lot of money. He would make millions of dollars and he could have a very stable, good life, but he felt like he would be unfulfilled if it wasn't his own thing. Then he had to try. So he took a risk. He left. But he felt that if he didn't take the risk, it would be dangerous. And he actually uses this paradigm, dangerous versus scary. It was really scary to leave his job at BCS, but it would be dangerous if he stayed, because the danger would be that one day he'd get out of bed and he'd be 60 and he would regret not having tried. And I think that's a big factor for a lot of founders, this idea that they don't want to feel intense regret. And so they're willing to take the risk, even though it might be catastrophic. The idea of building something, of owning something, of